Hey, it's Teacher Candy or Candy with Blessed Life, and I am loving this Go Live thing because it means that I don't have to record and then upload and do this and do that. I can just go straight and talk. And if somebody comes, I can say hi. So actually, I'm kind of liking this thing. But anyways, today's topic is what's been going on in the news about the college scandal with the college admissions and Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. And I guess it's 50 people. So that means 48 other people who have a lot of money, desperate to get their kids in university, and what it all means. And I think that college admissions is too complicated to just simply say, whatever. And I don't think anybody deserves to go to jail for this. I think that people are going nuts as far as going to jail. We have rapists, murderers, pedophiles who aren't going to jail. And the same people are saying send them to jail would defend a pedophile and say, oh no, they're just sick in the mind and they can't help it. They just need help. So let's get a grip on reality here. And then there's this one woman who's suing because she says her son didn't get in some of these schools that let these other kids in. But let's face it, you couldn't prove that your kid could have gotten in that school anyway. And he's a white boy, I think. So he had a lot of things wrong and against him that had absolutely nothing to do with him probably not getting in. It has absolutely nothing to do with them getting in. And that is actually part of the problem. Because I do think the woman, she's white, and I do think her son was white. If he was, I'd have to go back and really check. But that is a whole problem. We have to, if you want to look at college admissions and the problems, okay, yes, these people cheated. And what they did was horrible. And they took away athletic scholarships and spots for athletes. They took away, and especially the girls, shame on you, because girls have very few athletic scholarships. They cheated on their SATs, shame on you. And they gave money to, now this is really bad, and I hope that they burn that guy, but since he's writing out everybody else, that's another thing. And this is something that happens in the law system all the time. The person that's the worst perpetrator, the person that's the worst criminal in the whole situation, rats out everybody else, and then he walks with just a slap on the wrist. And the people that were drawn in by him, that were not as quite as guilty as he is, especially he created a foundation. People, he created a nonprofit foundation he didn't have to pay taxes on any of that money. The IRS should lock him up and throw away the keys for what he did. But what's going to happen? He's going to walk away with, he might do 5 months, 6 months in prison, and he'll do it in, one of those soft Martha Stewart style prisons, and he'll be out and doing it again. Sorry, but he will. Let's face it, we've learned from people like that they get out and they just do it again. They're con artists. That's all they know. That's all it's like it's part of them. And if they don't become a Christian and they don't have their whole being changed by Christ and his love and the Holy Spirit, he's going to do it again. Sorry. He's going to write a book about it, make lots of money. They're going to make a movie about it with sympathy towards him. It's just a whole mess. So everybody, is on the two famous actresses who did it. But the other 48 people are just as guilty and should be held to just as high regard and standards. And first off, let's start off, these kids aren't innocent. These kids are lazy, entitled, spoiled brats. And because I'm going to tell you, my mama would have never paid anybody to cheat on an SAT for me. My mama would have never gone through any of that for me. No, 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 no. I was taught from a young age, you earn what you get and you work hard for what you want. And I was also taught, and I learned the hard way that life isn't fair, that you can work hard for it and still not get it. And, my parents were lower middle class, blue collar. My dad was in the military. So we were, we had a nice life. I had a very nice, happy life. But I was the first one out of most of my family to go to college. I had two cousins by my mom's sister who went to college. And then I went to college. My dad went to college because when he got out the military, he did the GI Bill, but he did it to get the money. He really didn't do it because he cared about a degree. He was 50 years old when he retired. He did 30 years. He wasn't looking to, go to Wall Street. So you have to look at who really is hurt by everything as far as the college admissions goes. And college admissions need to be revamped. And this is what you need to do. Every single student only applies by their social security number. There's no indication of male or female. There's no indication of ethnicity. There's no indication of any kind of mental disorders or disabilities, learning disabilities, no kind of athletic abilities, anything. They apply solely on academics. They have an admission test that they somehow make it so that it's absolutely impossible for students to cheat on. And then from that admissions test and from your academic record in your school, which is submitted with no indications of ethnicity, no indications of race, no indication of male or female, no indication of any kind of learning disabilities, no indication of any kind of sport ability. And maybe you do have to write an essay, an admission essay, but again, no indications in your essay about any of those kind of things. Every single person submits those, and then there's no laws. You have to have so many people from foreign countries in universities. No laws that you have to have so many people of this ethnicity or that ethnicity, and let the chips fall where they may. Okay, the people that have the best scores academically, that are the brightest minds, have the pick of the best universities that they want to go to. And really and truly, the university system is so messed up in so many ways anyway. I don't even know unless my kid wants to be a doctor or a lawyer or something where you absolutely positively have to go to school. Like Lori Laughlin's kid wants to be an actress. So, I mean, why not send her to UCLA, which has an excellent theater program, and you might not have had to cheat to get her into, and let her, learn from that and just go and be a theater major. I don't know if she's any kind of other major outside. I don't know what that girl's major is, but it's really a waste of time and energy to send a kid who, doesn't have a specific field that absolutely positively needs a college education to get a job. So, and that's another thing. We can do away with all of these stupid majors like women's studies and just jobs that, they don't even create jobs. All they do is create people with degrees that the only thing they can do is wipe their butt with it because it's worthless as far as getting a job. We can do away with all those kind of majors and concentrate on majors that people need to get jobs. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then everybody gets in by academic ability. Okay, so your academic ability gets you into a college. Then once you are admitted into a college, you can apply for financial aid based on, because the college wants to offer scholarships for women who row, Give them scholarships for women who row. The college wants to offer scholarships for guys that want to be on the football team. Give those guys that are on the football team. If you want to give scholarships for people, somebody has donated money to give a scholarship for people of Hispanic backgrounds that is solely Mexican, and you have to go into a certain field like quantum physics, go ahead. That's where you start applying for these different scholarships that will benefit and help people that, if you come from this poor neighborhood and they want to give so many scholarships to that poor neighborhood, then those people will apply and get those scholarships. But admission should be on academics solely. And I say this, of course, being somebody who did well academically, but somebody who did well academically but didn't get any benefits from it, because I got very little scholarship help. I got very little financial aid help, and I'm just going, and that's another thing in the high school system, in the public high school system, where we want to give kids an upper hand. You need to have guidance counselors who don't suck, because my guidance counselor sucked. And I have so many stories. My cousin, who did go to college before me, and she's about 10 years older than me, she was told, she did so fabulous on her SATs and stuff, and so she was told, yes, you should be able to go to university and you can probably get some scholarships, but you can, apply to be a teacher, because she was a young woman, and, she wasn't told apply to be a aerospace scientist, or apply to be a mathematician, or apply to be a writer, or anything creative, or whatever she would have maybe in her heart wanted to do. And so she was told to apply to be a teacher. And her mother, my Aunt Cleta, God bless her, she's the only one in either side of the family that saved up money to send her kids to school. And she sent both of her kids, her daughter and her son, to university. And so she was able to go, but she applied for something that she really wasn't even interested in, because the stupid guidance counselor told her this is all you can do. In my case, I went to the guidance counselor and asked a lot of questions and was trying to get information. But for example, I didn't know that you have to apply for a lot of major universities in your junior year, not in your senior year. So I applied for universities and I got turned down. I applied to Georgetown. I applied to UCLA. I applied to, I can't remember what ones I applied to, but, dream universities that I wanted to go to. And I got turned down, and I was told, you can't apply for this year, but you can apply for next year, which would mean I'd have a whole year of not going to university. And I was like, and I didn't understand. I thought it meant that I wasn't good enough, that they didn't want me. I didn't understand that it was simply solely because my sucky guidance counselors didn't bother, teaching us in junior and sophomore years. Let people, you have to already be ready and know where you want to apply by your junior year. And so that was one way that they sucked. I could list 101 other reasons that they weren't good, but that's a big, huge problem. So let's fix that problem, okay? Let's go and say, okay, guidance counselors, this is what you have to do for kids who don't understand, whose parents have never been in college, who have no idea what is out there in the college realm, what kind of possibilities they even have. And let's help them. Let's give them every spectrum of different kinds of ways they can get scholarships, different kinds of ways they can apply to universities, what kind of universities they think that they would like, that kind of thing. And yeah, I think that they should offer Saturday and Thursday night classes to both parents and students on all the different spectrums that are available to students to apply for. Because if I'd known all the different kinds of possibilities, like, I never even dreamed of applying to Harvard or Stanford because it was like my parents don't have money. I didn't understand the financial aid system. I didn't even really know it existed. So that is something that's really, really important that we don't teach. And so a lot of kids like me who are from that middle class, but it's the working middle class. It's not that upper middle class. It's upperly mobile. Their parents have gone to university. I'm talking about, that lower middle class that, yeah, their mom and dad did good. They were financially stable. They had a financially stable childhood, stable life. But the parents don't have any experiences with universities. Nobody in the families have gone to university. Those kind of people need to be taught and trained and helped, and they aren't. Now, somebody might watch this and say, my school did that. Praise God if your school did that. Praise God. But too many don't. It's true. So that is one of the big problems. Another problem is there's total inequity all over the place. Asians should be jumping up and down screaming because they have everything. They have the highest scores. They have great academic records. They participate in all kinds of clubs in high school. They, are motivated and going to be the kind of students that when they get in universities are going to succeed. They're going to complete their 4 years or 6 years, whatever it is, whatever kind of degree. They're going to be successful students, and yet sometimes they're not being let in simply because of their ethnic background. It's not fair. It's not fair that an Asian male especially has to have higher SAT scores than an African-American male has to get into Stanford or Harvard or Yale or anything like that. It's not fair, okay? That's not fair. Fairness is everybody's on an equal playing field, okay? Now, we cannot undo the injustices done by people because of their family situation. That it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen where because you were born poor and your mama and daddy were drug addicts and you didn't, your grandma tried to help you, but let's face it, the streets are out there calling to you and it's just a crazy situation. You're never going to be able to fully recoup from that. And in the school systems, that's where the public school systems need from kindergarten up. First of all, we need to have second languages in all schools from kindergarten up. We need to have more music in schools because it has been proven that kids that play in band and stuff do better in math. And it helps your brain make those connections and hookups. We have to have a better social system. I was a teacher who reported students who were being abused and neglected. And every single time the social system came back and said, no, they're okay. It's okay. It's okay that mama doesn't have any food in the house and doesn't feed them because she spends every last penny that she gets on drugs. Because in the schools, we feed them breakfast and lunch. So they're getting 2 meals a day. So life is good. Yes, I was told that. Okay. And this was in North Carolina. I know every state has different standards, but I reported kids in both Georgia and North Carolina. Every single time I was told, no, they are not being abused and neglected, when it was clear and perfectly shown that they were in bad situations. And I mean, we're talking kids coming in smelling like pot because evidently, the house environment is so full of pot and they're high because they're exposed to pot. We're talking about 6-year-olds being told to bring something that's round or cylinder to school, and they're bringing in the broken crack valves to school as something round that they picked up and found in their home. Okay, 5 and 6 year olds, yeah. So we are talking about things that, it just makes it very obvious that the parents are neglectful, but for whatever reason, the social system. So we need to fix the social system. We need to have good Christian families that are opening up their homes to these kids. And we need to be working on ways to solve those problems. And as Christians, this is where Christians come in. We need to be going into those environments and telling people about Jesus, telling people about Christ and his salvation and grace, and helping them to get off drugs and helping them to create a life for their kids, and telling the kids that, this isn't your life. This doesn't have to be your life. You don't have to repeat the mistakes of your parents. And that's an important step that Christians need to be taking that we're not doing to the extent that we need to be doing it. So there's a lot of issues, and I know you're thinking this girl's all over the place, but there's a lot of issues that lead up to a kid being able to do well in university or not do well in university, to having the requirements to get into a university or not having the requirements to get in the university. And there's a lot of different factors. And so that's something that we have to look at. We have to look at these different situations. And then we can have an equitable university system. It's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be people that are going to find ways to cheat. And like I said, I don't think the parents, but I think the kids should be held responsible too. I do not believe that any of those kids are innocent. The fact that they were too lazy to get the good grades, be able to do the work to pass the SATs, whatever it was that they posed for picture. I mean, it shows that they had intent too. And so I think that the kids should be held responsible too. And I don't think it's fair that just the parents are being held responsible. I think it's a two-way street here. And so that's my take on it. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Christians, we need to be praying for our kids. We need to be praying every day, not just for our kids, but every kid that's going to school, because this world is so wicked, so evil. There are so many situations that are going on that are damaging to kids today, and we need to be working on those. And as Christians, we need to be volunteering and doing things to make a difference in people's lives and kids' lives, and teach our kids that they can make a difference, and help other kids that don't have the good upbringing and home life that they do. So that's my message for the day. Also, in fact, I read Proverbs 31 with my husband the other night, and I'm going to do a study on it. But the first 9 verses are about what a man should do, what a leader should do. And 2 or 3 verses address that leadership should protect the innocent, protect the helpless, help them. And children are our most helpless. And yeah, this is a university thing that's dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-olds, but it didn't start there. These kids, and the whole situation of going to university never starts when the kid is 20 or 18 and applying. It has to be a thing that starts in giving the kids, especially in the public school system, the best possible advantages. And even then, kids are different. People are different. There are people that should never go to college. Okay? There are people that want to be car mechanics. God bless them. Let them go be a car mechanic. They don't have to go to university. So, don't be banging on the head of this person because they might be a brilliant car mechanic that ends up coming up with some great engine or something. So, which I guess you would have to be an engineer, but, who knows? Maybe that wasn't the best example. But there are people that don't need to go to college and are going to succeed. There are plenty of people that do succeed without going to college. And so, we need to recognize that too. So everybody have a blessed day. Read the Bible, and see you soon. Bye-bye.